Michael says, I recently attended a webinar where the speaker recommended buying back the short leg of a bull put credit spread, even if it's expiring out of the money, in order to eliminate the risk of the short leg getting unexpectedly signed as a result of after-hour moves. I've never heard of this before and wanted to get your opinion. Okay, Michael, great question. It's not something that I do, and it's because I haven't had a position recently that I've been concerned about with having such a drop after hours that it would come back to that I'd be worried about it getting assigned. No, I didn't want the Friday. My apologies, folks. Give me 1 second. I want the 25th, right? Let's see what happened here. No, these are for the 5th of November. Okay. But that's all right. Let me just take deer. So this one was at 350. Let's just calculate group results here. Great. 355, nowhere near. 555, nowhere near. Nowhere near. 164, no. Okay, here's the loss. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I want to take PNC. If on October 25th, I wouldn't have opened this one, it's too far down the list, but on October 25th, if I had opened this bull put credit spread on PNC, the 216.56 on October 25th, excuse me, we would have sold the November 5th 207.5 strike and the 205 for a midpoint net credit of around 28 cents. So 2.5 point spread, 28 cents. We're looking at a good about 12% return on the position. Now let's analyze this position. I want to look at the graph of what happened over this time, Michael, in this case. So as you could see, let me go back. For these group results here, I'm getting closer to expiration. And on Friday, for example, the deer position was at 352, and we would have sold the 11-day out 335, 332.5, and there it is at 355. Am I worried about a 20-point drop after hours on deer? No, I think I'm okay. MDB 465, 460 on Friday expiration is trading around 555. I'm not thinking that it's going to drop 90 points after hours. Okay, Tesla 935, 930. It's at 1222. This is actually one that triggered these concepts. It started back 2020. I cannot remember. It was after the decline of February to March 2020. There were YouTube videos that started appearing about customers who got burned by a Tesla after hours drop on a Friday. And I don't think it was a standard expiration. I may be wrong on that. I think it wasn't the third Friday. I don't think it was a regular standard expiration. And I think Tesla dropped 150 to 160 points after hours. One of the gentlemen in these videos that was discussed, and a couple of other options educators like myself, respectable people, of course, they looked at it and they heard his story. But let's just take this example. He was much wider than this, unfortunately. But let's say he had sold the 935 put and bought, let's say the 900, 35-point strike difference. And the stock was trading right at 950. And after Friday's close at around 410 or 415, Tesla dropped down to 800. These aren't the exact numbers, but it was something along these lines. It dropped from 950 down to 800. It was a big drop. Something odd happened. Something I've never come across before. And what this investor claims is that at 412 or 413, it was below his 935 strike on the puts. He was assigned whatever he did, 25, maybe 40 contracts. I can't remember. It was a high number for 935. So he was assigned 2,000 shares, 4,000 shares at 935, for example. But at the technical closing of the long option, this was whatever time it was, 412, I think he said, but at 414, it wasn't below the 900 strike. It was at 425, but all of the options had been cleared out by that point, so they could not exercise his 930 to deliver the obligation of 4,000 shares or 2,000 shares at 935. It's a lot of money that was lost in this transaction. I think he made out over time, but he had to come up with this huge margin requirement, this huge fine, because he didn't have the money to buy those shares on the position. This is where the concept to be safe started to come about if you're within 2 to 3% of your short put strike price and you're concerned that an after hours event could happen, you might want to close it early. But even with the prices remaining that the market maker is going to force you to buy, you might not be getting 50% of what you expected to make. I might only be making 8 or 9% on this position instead of letting expire worthless and getting the full 18. That, depending on the stock, depending on the position, might affect your outcome long term. Why did I want to go to this PNC example? Well, what happened in this case, you can see, is the stock price here is our brown one, and it on the day before expiration, it dropped down to 207.71. We had sold the 207.50. I would have had to consider closing this position at that time. On the 4th, when the stock is within my 1% range, it was a sudden decline over that one day. I would have considered closing it. And if I held it to Friday, hoping it would recover, yeah, I'm still at a loss of 5.62. The big loss here, 18%. That's 18% of the maximum risk. So it's still not that high. Okay. But the day before, we were at about probably looking to make about a 50% profit. And so 10% return, as I mentioned, this was on the lower range. So we made the 5.6 per 2. This happens here. I'll be honest, I would have closed it. I'm in with my half to 1% range. I'm sorry, the stock price here at 207.10, 207.70, my 207.50 strike. Even on the next day, it's below it, right? It was at 207.10, so I'm 40 cents below it. Where I'm going with this is even if this was Friday, if 11/4 was that Friday expiration in that case, I would have considered buying to close this. Not because I'm so much worried about the after hours move, because it's within my 1% rule. And if I'm getting close to that expiration, Michael, I'm on Friday expiration, and my short put was in 1%. If I can close the position in the last hour or so of trading before the market closes, when it's this close, it's within that 1% range of my short put strike price, I really do still want to make 60 to 70% of what I expect. If I was looking for an 18% return or a 15% return, I still want to close it and still make hopefully 10, 12%. If I'm only making 7 or I'm only making 6%, I don't know. I might take the chance and leave it open. It does carry the risk that there could be that happening. Again, thankfully, it's never happened to me. Most of the time when I'm in these positions following the default searches, I'm fortunate enough to still be far out of the money where I don't need to worry about, I don't think this is going to drop 90 points after hours. I don't think Deere is going to drop, it could drop 20 points. I could see that maybe after hours or some news comes out. But it has to happen within that first 40 minutes or so where the OCC comes in and clears them out. We heard examples of this happening with that Tesla trade. I think there was another trade on a stock. I can't remember. If anyone remembers or you came across it, this would probably have been in July, maybe, or August of 2020 after the decline and when we started to rebound. I know Tesla was one of them. I think there was another one that wasn't Moderna. It wasn't one of the biotech stocks, one of the vaccine stocks. It was something else. And there's videos about that happening on a bull put credit spread where they got hurt because the short option was exercised on a large number of contracts and long wasn't. General approach, Michael, if you're within that 1% going to Friday's expiration, I would consider closing it, but I would like to see still 50, 60 to 70% of what I expected to make, and that might not always happen based on what the market maker is trying to do to me. Or us, I should say.